So if you don't have a degree yet, or you're trying to get a second degree, this video is exactly for you. I'm going to talk about a really simple 3-step process that you can use to get a degree for as inexpensive and as simple and easy as possible. And I've actually used this strategy for myself for all 3 of my degrees. So I have a degree in IT, computer science, and then a master's in cybersecurity. But basically, the 3-step process at a really high level, I'm going to talk about this in depth, but it's basically to accumulate your gen ed classes for like really cheap and fast. Step 2 is to transfer them into WGU. And then step 3 is to use this thing I've compiled with a bunch of strategies for each class from WGU and strategize and then pass the WGU classes as quickly as possible. And then you have your degree. So doing this process requires 2 organizations, I guess 1 org and then 1 school. The first one is study.com, which you can use to get your general ed classes. And the thing that actually prompted me to make this video is they came up with like a new program called the College Saver program. And study.com was really inexpensive before. It was like 200 something per month and you could take a lot of classes. But now with the College Saver program, that thing became $95 a month, which is even cheaper than sophia.org. And basically the idea behind it is they have like some core set of classes that you can take for your gen ed classes. And you sign up for study.com, you pay the 95 or even like 10% discount if you use the link in the description. And then you can take as many courses as you can for the month. And then when you take all of your gen ed classes, the idea is that you then transfer those into WGU. So the first org would be study.com. The second organization is WGU. That's the actual college that you're going to graduate from. You don't have to use WGU for this. There's a lot of colleges that take study.com credits, but I just personally like WGU because it's easiest and they have like a lot of different programs like education, IT, business, and then they even have some like nursing and health programs as well. They just have a lot. So basically the idea with them is you transfer in all of your gen ed classes and anything else you have, and then you sign up for a term, which is 6 months, and then you're allowed to complete as many courses as you can in that 6-month time period. And then after you complete the courses, then you go on to graduate. So I'll talk about all of these in a bit more depth. So I guess the first step, or maybe step 0, is to just figure out which degree program you want to graduate with. I might recommend, if you're interested in tech and you just want to get a degree really, really fast, I might recommend just the IT and business management or something like this that doesn't have a lot of third-party certifications in it. And then once you have the degree in mind that you want to get, you would then go to study.com and then see which classes you can take from there that will transfer into your degree. And to help out with this, I made a really huge like Excel, I guess not Excel, but Google Sheets spreadsheet that has every single WGU program on it, as well as the different study.com transfers. And then once you have your degree picked out, you can easily see which courses from study.com that you can take that will transfer into that degree. And the reason why this is so good and why study.com works so well, like specifically the College Saver program, is because it's month by month and it's extremely inexpensive, especially compared to college and WGU. So for example, with WGU, when you sign up, you have to pay for 1 term at a time, which is like a 6-month like commitment. And that chunk costs about $4,000 these days, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more depending on the degree. But with study.com, it's really good, especially if you're not used to doing online learning and like self-paced stuff, because the commitment is like, it's much, much lower, especially if you use the discount. Say it's, less than $95 a month, and you can kind of ease yourself into the online learning self-paced kind of thing. And it's much lower stakes than taking like a proctored exam at WGU. It's just a lot less stress and it helps you ease into the process with a lot less of a dollar commitment. So a really solid look at things like how this might look like when you're actually going through it. I'll put a link to this spreadsheet in the description, but basically these are all the degree programs at WGU and then some more information about them. So say that you wanted to do the BS in data analytics. So you click on this, and then this column B are all the courses that you need to complete in order to get your degree. And then I'll talk about this column in a second. But this column are the courses that you can actually take from study.com to transfer them into WGU to satisfy these courses over here. So the idea is after you choose your degree program, you would look at this, and then of course, if you have community college credits or something, I would transfer into WGU first, but After that, I would look at this column here and figure out which courses you need to take from study.com to transfer them in. So I would sign up for study.com and then try to take as many of these as you can, because it's so inexpensive there, especially with the College Saver program. It's, $95 per month. And assuming that each class is like 3 credits, that's like, if you do 2 per month, that's like 6 credits at $95. Which is some ridiculously low dollar amount. I can't do this in my head, but it's probably like, $15 per credit hour, or something ridiculously cheap like this, where normally it's like $200 to $300. So it's just really inexpensive. So this is the first phase. You would complete as many inexpensive credits as you can and then transfer them into WGU. And then the next phase, like phase 2, is actually transferring them in. After you transfer all of your study.com courses in, it's going to look something like this. You're only going to have basically these courses left. And then at this phase, actually put a column here. We try to update this at least once per quarter, but this column basically says, it basically contains Reddit threads that talk about different people who have passed these classes and how many days it took them. So for example, this person, if you click on this, you can see it in here, ethics and technology. And then it has a link to the Reddit thread where the person talks about like what they actually did to pass this course and then how long it took. So for example, not each one, but most of the classes at WGU has something like a link to a Reddit thread that talks about the strategy that will help you pass the class sooner rather than later. And this is good because WGU is based on how long you're enrolled. You pay for like 1 term at a time, which is 6 months. And if you can complete the rest of the courses in that 6-month time period, then you can finish your whole degree in 6 months, and it ends up being really inexpensive. So I'll look at this one, like design thinking for business. If I click on this, design thinking for business, and we can see it's 2 days, and then this is like the link to the Reddit thread. And this is how the person talked about how they passed that particular class in 2 days. Remember, there's not only IT here, there's like health degrees, education degrees, a bunch of business degrees as well. I just happened to pick data analytics. But if you're interested in cybersecurity, there's also a cybersecurity version as well. And it lists out all of not all, but most of the strategies for the WGU courses, as well as any certifications that you can get along the way, as well as all of the different transfers from study.com that you can use to make things more inexpensive and speed things up. And I did want to address something as well that most people are probably thinking about, which is AI specifically, and how it affects the job market and the validity of degrees and all that stuff. So AI for sure, it's disrupting a lot of industries, including like IT and cybersecurity, like especially like really hard. But with any like advent of new technology, like granted AI is like kind of different this time. For sure, like a lot of jobs are going to get absorbed and automated away by it, but a lot of new jobs are going to get created as well. And that's something that, we say like through every cycle that we kind of experience with all this new tech and stuff, but for sure that's what's happening, and for sure it's going to happen again this time. But I don't know like exactly the extent of how it's going to happen. I've been trying to incorporate it into my work in our community, and we talk about it a lot myself, but it's just really good to get yourself educated, like not only from like an education standpoint, but from like a credentials on your resume standpoint as well, because all of those things like help a lot. And the way that degrees help, 2 ways. Like the first way, it just helps you learn stuff that you wouldn't have learned or even known about otherwise. And it will help build your foundation. Like if you're working in IT or tech or something, it helps give you like a foundation. It makes you aware of things at least, and it gives you some kind of footing and awareness of different topics. So if you want to like study on a certain area more, at least you know that it exists now because you got exposed to it when you were getting your degree. And then the other way that it helps is just having it on your resume is going to help. Obviously, like, you don't need a degree to do well at work, but there's a lot of people applying to a lot of different jobs around the country or around the world, I guess. And people need to like quell the applicant pool down like one way or another. And one way people do that is just with degrees. They might just be like, okay, anyone who doesn't have a degree, okay, we're gonna like filter you out, right? So it's really good to go about like plan on getting a degree and try to get one if you can. And this method just makes that much more easier and more accessible to people, because I wouldn't have gotten a degree if I couldn't use a method like this. It just takes too long traditionally, too much time. too much energy. It's just a lot of trouble. But with this self-paced thing and then study.com and making it like really accessible and easy, I was able to get multiple degrees. And if you can find it in yourself to make the time and use the energy, I recommend everyone else to do the same. And another thing to keep in mind is that while degree is like really, really good to have, a lot of people still have this mindset like they're going through a pipeline and then they're like, go to school, like get degree, and the next step is like trade degree for job or something like this. But it doesn't work like that. The economy, like everything is economy based, and it's just supply and demand. And you simply having a degree, like only having a degree, that might have been like really good 50 years ago or something like this, but it's not kind of not enough today. You need to do a lot of other stuff as well, like a lot of hands-on and like being really proactive and like learning about your field and like networking, like all of this stuff. And it's good to get the degree and have it out of the way. And I recommend you do that. And I recommend you do it like with this method, because if you can finish your degree up in like a year or something instead of 4 years, for example, you finish it up in a year and you spend like, you know, however much time you need like afterwards, you're saving a lot of time. So you use like, you know, it's not going to take 3 years, but you know, you have like 3 years left to kind of do labs and like learn stuff on the side and do projects and do like a hands-on stuff and like networking. And you have a lot more time and resources left if you use this method to hit all of the other areas that matter, that will actually help you to get a job. Because some employers care about the degree, some employers care about your experience, some employers care about certifications, some employers like care about, I guess, like who you know. I suppose that's a thing, right? Like nepotism. And if you can save a lot of time and resources and energy getting your degree, you have a lot of HP or like power left over to focus on the other areas that you need as well. Because you don't want to blow like all of your energy and a bunch of money in 4 years on getting a degree, and then after that have to worry about getting certifications or like hands-on like projects and like all this other stuff. So that's another reason why it's good. It like shrinks your opportunity costs down to like a year, right? Your opportunity cost and your dollar cost gets shrunk down to a year, and then you can work on like all the other stuff that's necessary to actually land your job. So if you're interested, I'll put links to everything I talked about in this video, the 10% off study.com, the course mappings for WGU to study.com, as well as the spreadsheet with all of the different Reddit threads in it that will help you pass the WGU classes relatively quickly. And if you're interested in getting the cybersecurity degree and you want somewhere to do like hands-on stuff, we have a really large community. There's over 1,200 people in it now. And we have a large realistic enterprise environment with a bunch of fully licensed enterprise security tools in there with a lot of documentation and coursework on how to use them. And it's worked out really, really well. People enjoy it. There's a lot of smart people in there helping each other out. So check that out as well. I'll put a link down below for that. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.